pretty awesome, eh? Can I like use that illustration? Oh man. Te whare etu nei tēnā koe. I ngā maunga, ngā awa, ngā whenua, te moana I takatōnei tēnā koutou katoa. Tuaroa ki ngā mātei, haere, haere, haere atu. Ngā mihi ki te iwi e tōnei nā te whātua o rākei tēnā koutou. Kia tātou e tōnei kia ora. Nō reira e hoa mā me motu I kōnei. So ko Rui Peng toki ingoa, ko Manju Raua, ko Han o ki iwi, ko Critical takumahi tēnā koutou katoa. So I'm one of the co-founders at Critical, and we're a clean tech startup on a mission to transform plastic waste into beautiful and durable and endlessly recyclable materials for building fit-outs and products. I actually want to start the talk today with a story. It is a story that has challenged me over the years, like a good friend. It is a story that was told to me by the very first Māori judge that was appointed in the Supreme Court, Justice Joe Williams. And I want to retell his version, and I hope I don't stuff it up. So I've got notes. So this is a story about an ancestor of Aotearoa. I'll just stand over here, eh? Called Kupe, who decided to migrate south with, I'm damn sure, the consent of his wife, Kura Marotini. There had been some problems in Hawaii, their home island, and it was time to leave. Kupe and Kura Marotini knew that there was land to be found in the south. They knew it was there because every year in about September, this beautiful bird here, called the pipiwhārauroa, or the shining cockatoo, would leave Hawaii and come back in 6 months' time. And they knew that it had to be land there because it didn't have webbed feet. If you find yourself in the Waitakere Ranges in September, you can actually hear it today. And so about a month later in October, Kupe and his wife left on a double haul waka with their son, 2 nieces, and the wider whānau from their village, making up about 25. The science that they deployed to make that unbelievable journey of 3,000 odd miles was some of the best cutting edge science deployed at the time. Anywhere on the planet, actually. What they did was the opposite of what James Cook did. What James Cook did was to abstract himself from the environment, draw a picture of what he saw in the hopes of helping to navigate him here. And it worked. But what Kupe did was to bury himself in the environment, to know the patterns of the albatrosses and what distances they would travel from land, to know what cloud formations indicated land and what didn't, and to know when the swell would bend to indicate land. And about a month later, all 25 of them were out there in the middle of the ocean on their waka. Kupe was probably asleep because he was the navigator, and as the navigator, you will be awake all night reading the stars. And Kura Marotini, Kupe's wife, uttered these once famous words, "He ao, he ao, he Aotearoa." Man, it gives me the shivers, even to say that. Like, a cloud, a long white cloud. Now, the science that these people deployed was such that they understood convection clouds built up over significant bodies of land. And so the darker the bottom of the cloud, the more verdant the land. And so the story goes, he ao, he ao, he Aotearoa. But I'm pretty sure what she said was, Kupe, holy shit! Get your ass out of bed! Because this was the biggest convection cloud that any Polynesian or Māori have ever seen. And so it was to make the greatest journey of our species, according to the great anthropologist Jared Diamond. It was the great feat of the human race. It was a miracle, but not if you were a Kupe, because your science was that good. And the amazing thing is that Kupe's descendants became Māori on that whenua. They built a new language, a new culture, a new way of thinking in this cold but unbelievably plentiful land. These Māori were so happy that they bloody forgot how to get back home. And it's what happened 800 years later that I wanted to talk about too. A modern Hawaiian in the 1970s called Nainoa Thompson decided that he wanted to relearn Kupe's skill. So he founded a Micronesian man called Mo to explain to him how his ancestors navigated the entire Pacific with no instruments. Mo then taught him for 2 years. At the end of their time, when Nainoa and a crew that he had built was going to make this unbelievable journey from Hawaii to Tahiti Nui, and Nainoa was going to be the navigator. Nainoa was going to be Kupe. Mo, this tiny Micronesian man with pretty bad English, took him to the island of Oahu, to a place overlooking the horizon, and asked, Nainoa, recite to me the star chart from here to Tahiti. So Nainoa does it, and Mo says, do it again. And Nainoa does it again. At this point, Nainoa started to get a bit worried. Do it again, Mo said. And he did it another 4 times. And Mo said to him, can you see the island? Nainoa said that he knew that this was a pivot point. However he answered this question was going to decide whether they were going to Tahiti, whether Mo went home, and that it was all over. So he said he kind of freaked out and lost courage and said to Mo, I don't understand what you're asking of me. So Mo walked away. Next day, back in the same place. Same deal, like Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. 3 days later, for 3 days, they went through this. And Nainoa hadn't figured out what the heck was going on. He knew this was important, but he had a crisis of confidence. The 4th day, they get through the 5th recitation of the star chart, which each recitation takes about 20 minutes. Nainoa said he closed his eyes and he imagined the island of Tahiti Nui in his head. And he finally understood what this old fella was on about. And he said, yes, Mo, yes, I see the island now. And Mo said to him, you must keep that island in your mind. There'll be heavy seas, dark nights, and sometimes no wind at all. And your crew will become restless, worried and anxious. If you keep that island in your mind, in those times you'll be safe. But if you lose it, and because you're the navigator, you will die and your crew will die with you. Nainoa said to her that this experience wasn't about navigation at all, but it was a fundamental truth about leadership, which is you have to know where you're taking your waka. And if you don't know that, if you mistake your job for negotiating with the squalls or the sudden gusts of wind, squall by squall, you will die. You have to have a vision in your head and back it up with preparation and courage. So Kupe and Nainoa both arrived at their destination. They were pleased, but they weren't surprised. And when we navigate with hard work, vision, and courage, we will be pleased, but we will not be surprised. I heard this story in 2017 at the end of Leadership New Zealand, and by the end, I was just weeping in the crowd, trying to just hide my tears, and so like we were sitting in this crowd, but I was trying so hard to hold this because it hit me, it hit me really close to home. Thinking about today, we live in the midst of a climate crisis, a disrupted economy caused by a pandemic and war. Our future has never been this uncertain. But the story about how our Polynesian and Māori ancestors crossing the vast ocean from Hawaiki to Aotearoa over 800 years ago tell us that we've been here before. I believe now is the time for us to collectively imagine and hold on to a brave new vision of the future, a new island per se, and back ourselves with preparation and hard work. And so in that spirit, I'd like to share with you, or pitch you, Critical's vision and plan for the future. We are currently raising a seed investment round and are looking for everyday investors to jump on our waka by joining our crowd equity campaign. I bet you weren't expecting that I was going to pitch you. It's too late now. I'm going to get Ryan to lock the doors, and we've got 7 hours, so let's get started. As a Māori company, we exist to uplift the Māori of Taiao. Our health and well-being is inextricably tied to the well-being of our natural world. And therefore, when the wai ora, the well-being of our land and rivers and oceans are affected, it affects us all. And you don't need to be Māori to feel this yourselves. We started Critical because we want to be good tipunga or ancestors, so that our generation or the generations beyond us can thrive not for 10 or 100, but for thousands of years to come. I want to share with you another story. This one is pretty crack up though. In 1894, The Times once predicted that in 50 years, every street in London will be buried under 9 feet of manure. The problem was horse waste. The International Urban Planning Commission at the time couldn't find a solution and assumed that urban civilization was doomed. I mean, it's funny now, but like in 1894, like in the 1500s, if you had diarrhea, it's like, well, better get my affairs in order. Today, the world produces nearly 1,000 times in plastics each year, and only 9% is recycled. Every piece of plastics ever created still exists today. Our plastics problem kind of feels like we're drowning in horse shit, doesn't it? In New Zealand, businesses are responsible for over about 83% of all plastics to landfill. And construction is the single biggest culprit. But we as customers, investors, and employees are putting pressure on those big brands and the businesses to do better, which is why they have all made public plastic zero, climate neutral, or waste zero waste commitments by ambitious targets, 2035 or 2050. However, the product and technology to deliver it doesn't yet exist. You see where I'm going, guys? Critical has built the technology platform to transform almost all 24 types of plastics into our first product, the Critical Cleanstone. Our range of beautiful, durable, and endlessly recyclable panels for building fit-outs and beautiful products. It is the eco-disruptor to the near $1 trillion global industry for timber and fiberboard. There are over 24 plastic types or types of plastic waste, and most countries can recycle only about 4 to 6 types. So we spent 4 years bootstrapping the development of our hardware and novel IP from a technology lab we took over and adapted in an intermediate school. We have since raised $500,000 pre-seed, launched our pilot plant by the airport in Tamaki in Manukau, survived a freaking tornado last year, and relaunched our ready-to-scale solution. Our Unibond technology takes contaminated plastics there is no solution for and turn them into panels that can take a beating while offsetting approximately 1.4 tons of carbon for every ton of plastics recycled. We can then endlessly customize the material look and feel to create unique brand stories and to ensure our Cleanstone never go out of fashion. And at the end of life, we buy back our materials, our panels, and recycle them into new Cleanstone in a fully circular loop. And our plan is to scale our products globally by putting our technology, the Critical Microfactory, into every city in the world. So I want to give you a few examples. An example is Kōkako in Commercial Bay, using sort of the panels, our Cleanstone panels, to sort of clad and fit out the offices, their cafe. And the story was that they were taking 8,000 bottles collected and used and turn them into panels to then fit out a cafe waste into a beautiful cafe experience. Another cool example, or at least I think it's pretty cool. There's one image that isn't quite showing up, that's all right. We took 50,000 Torpedo 7 plastic bags that were phased out, I think in 2019, and we turned them into our Cleanstone panel that Torpedo 7 then used to sort of fit out the Torpedo 7 Newmarket store. So you'll see the panels made out of their waste as countertops, retail fixtures, bathroom doors, dividers, brands across their store, sort of pepper potted everywhere. And this is the cool example that our mate Rebecca over here, where our panels were used as part of the MOTAT exhibition. I think Jess Gomez designed it, using our Piha panel, which is made from a construction waste, and then created this really beautiful installation out of the post-consumer mix. So yeah, Cleanstone panels that look like waves. So go check it out, it's a pretty cool place. I wish I knew about that there was a giveaway about free family passes. I would have saved to go like this week. So can we get reimbursed now? I was cheeky. I was like, hey, just real quick. Do I get to go in for free if like our stuff is in there? And the guy was like, I put him on the spot, and he got real awkward. And I was like, I'm just joking. I wasn't joking. It's fucking guarded, Another good example is Manurewa High School, using our Cleanstones to reclad their reception space. And so we designed kind of this, the school have a pepeha, so Manurewa High School sits between two maunga and the awa, and their waka as well, which is meant to be the counter. And so that was designed and then used to sort of tell that story. The green is actually made out of, our ponamu mix is made out of fish nets that turn into a greenstone panel. The black and white, our piha mix is made from a construction tube of mixed plastics bonded together. The blue is actually made from healthcare, like off-cut products that used for respiratory equipment and stuff. So plastic waste offer a wide range of perks, and in Cleanstone form, we're flipping that script by turning an environmental problem into product advantages. If we factor in the total cost of ownership, namely its sort of near indestructibility, zero water reactivity, and zero to low maintenance and the ease of install, and the ability to last a lifetime, compared to even MDF, our Cleanstone is more affordable at year 8, even at the premium prices if you're buying them one at a time right now. So here we're going to get to some really nitty-gritty investment stuff. You guys keen? Like, we can talk some numbers? Yeah? So we've created 2 investment scenarios, a minimum and a maximum. Hitting our minimum will enable us to increase production capacity by using our current gen technology with step changes and process improvements. We will obtain key certifications, rubber stamps, to enable our B2C customers to specify our panels more broadly in the fit-out industry and hire key development managers to grow our B2C and B2B pipelines. So B2C just means like we're selling directly to customers and everyday users. B2B means that we're selling to a business like the Warehouse Group, who then they're like one big customer, but they've got a lot of spaces. We will increase the capacity of processing up to about 280 tons per year diverted from landfill and reach healthier margins and self-fund the next gen technology development ourselves. You get all that? Yeah, clear as day. To enact our plan to put critical microfactories into every city in the world, we need to execute on our next generation development plan. Hitting our maximum target of 2 mil will enable us to set aside a dedicated R&D team who will then get us to next gen faster, which means we can scale faster. This looks like increasing our production and capacity by up to 8 times, with better margins through leap change developments and reduce labor spent in production. This production efficiency will also enable us to lower the price of our products, also making it more accessible to more people. We estimate, if we raise this and we raise our maximum, we estimate getting to our Series A raise, which is another way of just saying it's like a bigger investment scale-up round, looking at maybe 10 to 20 mil. We should be able to get there in about 30 months and start ready to franchise and put that with other city and other partners. And we'll probably start in Aussie and New Zealand at the same time. Some examples of partners that we're currently working with. So the play for us have been 2 ways. One is to work with creatives like yourselves, where you'll specify and use the panels for projects. But the bigger play that we also have, well, the other play, not the bigger play, is that we're partnering with big corporates like the Warehouse Group, KFC, McDonald's, where effectively they'll send us their plastics that is hard to recycle. We turn them into a Cleanstone, and then they buy back what they send us. So if they send us 10 tons of plastics, we turn that into 10 tons of panels that they then buy back to use across their stores. And that, so the way that we believe this will help us scale fast is to go, hey McDonald's, hey, real quick, we've done this for you guys by turning your waste into panels for all of your restaurants in Aotearoa. It doesn't take that much of a stretch of imagination to partner with you and start doing other countries like Aussie and Asia Pacific and the States. And so we think these partners, the B2B partners, can be one of the key partners that we can lean alongside us to scale and use Aotearoa as the testing ground or the pilot stage ground. We found it critical with the goal of building an enduring company that exists to care for people and our land. I'm actually an architect by training, a technology tinkerer, and obsessed over products and customers. I help lead big corporates and commercial brands and government organizations to innovate new products and services through human-centered design at EY. Adam is of Ngāti Raukawa and Ngāti Kahungunu Whakapapa. For 17 years, he's led large and startup brands to success, and he was the former CFO at Saatchi & Saatchi. Hana, our CTO, is driven to develop and scale green technology solutions. Her decades-long engineering experience spanned from innovating in large companies like Boeing, Yamaha, Fisher & Paykel, and she led technical startups to innovate new products in Odox, Akuro, and her own consultancy, Popcorn. So for us, critical is more than our work, it's kind of our life's work. If we weren't solving this problem within critical, we're probably looking at solving this problem in different capacities. This is also, by the way, when you're pitching to investors, like, invest in us, back us as people, yeah. So our plan is that over the coming months, our next steps are to close out funding, secure nationwide contracts to hit our sales targets, ramp up production and capability to deliver on contracts, and build our next-gen critical microfactory technology to, ahead of our scale-up raise in Series A to enable us to expand to key cities. Yeah, and we're actually planning a crowd equity campaign alongside a wholesale investor round, which is the impact investors that we have. So yeah, we're looking for everyday people who care about the environment, who care about beautiful products that solve a really big problem, to join us as shareholders. Over the years, we've had, I guess, everyday people kind of hit me up and go, hey, Rui, you know, I don't have a lot of money. I've got $100 to $1,000. I believe in what you guys are doing. I care about it. How do I get in and join what you guys are doing? So we created a crowd equity round for that very sort of audience to make it more accessible. Now, it only took 12 years, the length of an investment cycle, to solve the great horse manure crisis of 1894. We are looking for everyday investors who care about the environment and great products to join our seed investment round before this shit hits the fan. Nō reira e hoa mā, nau mai, haere mai. Whakaikia ki te waka e tere ake nei. Kia ora.